Hi babe, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be putting the new Bare Mineral Bare Pro foundation to the test, and let's just jump straight into it. I've already primed one side with a L'Oreal Infallible makeup base primer, and I'm going to use brush on one side and beauty blender on the other. This is what the foundation looks like. As you can see, I've got a sample. There's no scent to it whatsoever. I'm applying it with the Bare Minerals Luxe Performance brush on this side of my face. This brush is really nice, but it is not a do or die kind of brush because of the price tag. So your brush that you have might be really good for you already, so you don't necessarily need to run out and go and get this brush. But if you would like to, go and give it a try in the store. Okay, so this is what the finish looks like. I actually love the finish, but it kind of looked a little bit cakey, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And they said I apply with a beauty blender. I apply really nice and seamlessly as well. It applies both well with the brush and the beauty blender as well, just in case you're wondering. Okay, and as you can see, it looks a little bit kind of ashy on me, but we're kind of going to correct that a little bit with the translucent powder. So I'm going to go ahead and touch up a little bit in the areas where I feel like I need a little bit more coverage, and I ended up sitting on a medium coverage, in case you're wondering. Okay, and the finish of it is a little bit kind of tacky, and very it's not transfer resistant whatsoever. And even after setting it with the Laura Mercier translucent powder, it was still a little bit there was still a lot of transfer. So I finished applying the foundation itself at 10:05 in the morning, and every other product I applied on top of it stayed really nicely. So this is what the finished product of the foundation is, what it looks like. I don't really apply any other too much products on top of it, so that I can give you guys a good review. So at 3 o'clock I add oil. This is what my face looks like, and then now this is at 7, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I think now. Alright guys, so it's been about 9 hours now. This is what my face is looking like after 7 o'clock. So it's been 9 hours and a few minutes, and this foundation is not so bad. It's not so bad, but the main thing is my oil started building up a little bit on my nose area in church today, and it was like 1 hour after I finished applying the makeup basically. So I was a little bit disappointed by that, but the main thing is it did not come to the surface, so I guess that's a plus. So I went back online to look at their claim, so we're going to talk a little bit about their claim now before I go ahead and dab this off. Okay, so one of the first things to say about this foundation is that it's 24-hour long wear foundation. And by the way, when I am looking at long wear claim, I'm not just looking at the foundation's capacity to reduce oil, I'm also looking at whether or not the foundation separate and whatnot. So when I say long wearing, I'm talking about did it separate, is it, you know, like is it faded and whatnot. Okay, so in terms of separation and whatnot, I would say it's a little bit long wearing. I mean, my smile lines is cracked a little bit here, so, and it is 9 hours later, so maybe a little bit, but we're gonna tackle this texture in a moment. Okay, so they said this foundation gives you a natural matte finish. It does give you it's a natural medium to full coverage finish, but it is not a matte finish. It is more of a semi-matte, and then when you set it with a powder, you have a powdery finish but still a semi-matte finish. So it's not like slap your face matte, as I always say. They say it blurs pores and imperfection. I mean, they blurred a little bit of my acne scars, which is some of my imperfections to me. My textures, it blurred it a little bit to a point, but that started fading away about an hour later, and as you can see, my texture is a little bit more visible here where I've got oil buildup. Okay, they said it improved skin texture, it's oil free, blah blah, it's designed for all skin type. Let's just tackle that for a second. I would still recommend this foundation for combination oily skin. I would recommend it for normal skin, but dry skin, I don't think I would necessarily recommend this for dry skin, because after I finish applying it, yes, it doesn't really set to a matte finish, but there's something a little bit uncomfortable about it. It kind of almost looked a little bit cakey when I finished applying the foundation itself before I actually started with the powder. So I feel like it might cling to your face, you know. Yeah, but I would recommend it for normal skin and actually oily skin as well. Even though I've got shine on my face right now, it does not separate at all, which is really good. Provides SPF 20 non-chemical mineral based sun protection. So SPF 20, I forgot to do a flash test when I finished applying the foundation this morning, but I did a flash test just now before I came on camera to give you guys a little bit of an update. Okay, and I didn't see any flashback on this foundation, unless if I didn't look at it properly. Then they said this foundation comes in 30 meticulously calibrated shades. Now that's one thing I have a little bit of a bone to pick with. Actually, let's combine that with their claim of does not ash or gray on dark or deep skin tone. I don't know if you can see this, because now I'm noticing it. Can you see around here? does it not look a little bit ashy or grayish to you guys? I did not apply any other product aside from the Laura Mercier Transfer Powder in the shade Medium Deep that I used to apply set the foundation this morning. So I didn't do any cutting of the cheek or whatnot, but it looks like the foundation kind of cut my cheek a little bit for me, and I didn't really ask it to. So the fact that they said it does not ash or gray on dark deep tone, I've never seen anyone else have this claim, so it was quite interesting to see this. It kind of looks a little bit gray on my ashy on my skin right here. Can you see it? I hope you can see it, because I can even see it in the mirror and on camera, but it's not so bad, which I guess is a good thing. Another thing with the shade range, when I actually look closer at the shade range, guys, I picked up the shade 28 Clove. It's the third darkest shade. No, so when you look at shade 30, 29, 28, so I picked up the second to the last darkest shade, or the third to the last darkest shade. If I am the third to the last darkest shade in a shade range, that is already an indication that there's not enough shade range for deeper and darker skin tone. So yes, kudos to them for bringing out 30 shades, but the last 6 shades are the shades catered to deeper skin tone, and I am the third to the last darkest shade. I feel like I don't have anything, I don't need to say anything else about that, literally, because it just kind of speaks for itself. I am the third to the last darker shade. They claim for this foundation to be sweat resistant, water resistant, humidity resistant, heat resistant, and transfer resistant. Okay, sweat, water, humidity, and heat. I can't really test that. Yes, it was a little bit hot in the house, like we are in winter right now in London, and it was a little bit hot in the house today, but I didn't really sweat on my face as I usually do. I can't really tell you guys anything about that, but in terms of transfer resistant, this foundation is not transfer resistant whatsoever. Okay, so since we've gotten all that out of the way, let's just go ahead and touch up a little bit so we can see what we're gonna have here. I'll just dab this off. All right, so this is what we've got. Let me just go ahead and put Laura Mercier powder on top of it, just kind of see. Do you see that difference? That's the side that I've kind of set down a little bit with the powder, and it looks much better. For what it's worth, I really like the natural finish of this foundation. I mean, it is a beautiful, it's a medium coverage at best, and I believe you could beat it up to a full coverage finish, but when I finished applying it, it just looked a little bit cakey to a point that I didn't feel the need to use I couldn't use my MAC Studio Fix powder as I've been using for the past few days, because that if I had used my MAC Studio Fix powder, it would have made it feel and look a little bit more cakey than usual. So I feel like it was best to use the Laura Mercier translucent powder on top of it. But guys, look at the difference. This side I've kind of touched up with a translucent powder now, and this side I haven't touched up with a with a translucent powder now. All right, so what do you guys think about this foundation, guys? This is my 30th foundation test, and I cannot believe that I have tested 30 foundations in 2017. Like, do you know how much work that is? I can't believe I have tested 30 foundations, guys. It is just mind-boggling, gobsmacking. Literally, actually, it's realistically speaking, I've tested 29 foundations, because December 2016, when I started foundation test videos, I tested out the Hello Girl Pro HD foundation. That was my first foundation review that I did on this channel, literally, and that was in December 2016. So that's what kicked off foundation test for me. So 2017, I've tested 29. I can't believe it. It is amazing. So this is going to be my final foundation test video for this year. It's definitely coming back next year, like, you know, and I think next year I'm just going to reduce it a little bit. I'm going to change the style a little bit. I am going to perhaps maybe upload foundation test once a month or twice a month, depending on the foundations that's come up and depending on your request. You know, instead of uploading foundation tests like 4 times a month or whatever, I reduce it to 1 to 2 times a month and whatnot. Let me know what you guys think, okay? And feel free to always send me your request, you know, DM me on Instagram, as some of you guys are doing already, and you can comment it down below, or just, you know, message me on Snapchat. Follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. Mainly Instagram and Snapchat, because that's what I use most. Okay, all right, so what do you guys think about this foundation? Would you get it? I don't really like the ashiness it kind of gave me around here, which is quite, it's a bit weird. I don't really like it whatsoever, but it kind of gave me a nice contour, I guess. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching all my foundation test videos this year. For those who have, for those that kind of caught up with me along the way, thank you. I appreciate you guys. And for those that have requested foundation test videos, you know, foundations put to the test, thank you so much, because without your request, I wouldn't have come up with foundation, you know, all those foundation test videos wouldn't have come up. Okay, so thanks so much for 2017, and foundation test next year is going to be bigger and better. definitely. Okay, so thanks for watching, as I said, with the opt-in time, and as always, whatever you're doing to love yourself, 2018, we're coming for you, and I'll see you guys in my very next video. Bye bye.